Okay, you were in Springfield.
Yeah, I was in Springfield. So early in the week, I got a call, and after there was an amendment being attached to a bill, and what that amendment was going to do was it
Oh,
was
the
going,
blocking municipal broadband.
yes. So what they was
Yeah, I
doing,
sent you the link yesterday because went in to fill out the form and they
Mhm.
wanted your address. And I thought, oh, if I put in Ann Arbor, it's not going to mean anything.
Oh, it will, it will because this,
Oh, well, it's
it,
too late now. I think the deadline
yeah,
was 5
yeah,
p.m.
yeah, it sets precedents, right? So if they can do it in a county like Cook, which is half the population of the state of Illinois, so then that sets a precedence for other areas that that they may work in other states or just on the other side. So our utility in Cook is ComEd, and what they were saying is any utility that serves more than a county of more than 3 million cannot sell their reserve fiber to ISPs for a profit or lease their dark fiber. And so in terms of what that means is that all they can use it for are their own services. And now
That's like
ComEd
saying
only
that when
does
they build highways that,
exactly.
FedEx and UPS can't drive on those highways.
That was my exact thought. So I was driving down to Springfield, and that's the exact thing came past me or to my mind when I see Amazon truck, a Walmart truck. I'm saying, okay, so all these trucks are going down here. This is a state highway, so the state can come on here to conduct their business, but they can't allow anyone else on here to conduct any business. I was like, this is the craziest thing ever. And then you relate it back to cell phones. You have cell phone providers, the AT&Ts and the Verizons and those guys, but then you also have the so-called community ones like Mint Mobile, and there's other ones inside of Walmart, the smaller ones that only serve them for $25. They aren't restricting them. So I mean, that's the same thing. They should not be able to allow these smaller individuals to get in on this business.
I
So
remember when I lived in New York City, I would go out to this beach that was about an hour from our house in Brooklyn, and it was really wonderful. And I could see this giant cell phone tower, but there was no reception on my phone.
mhm.
I couldn't even pay extra to
Right.
make a phone call, and it's so ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's the thing that it was just the ironic thing is ComEd doesn't have as much fiber in the ground as some of the other fiber providers. It's like Crown Castle and Zayo and a new organization, Crosstown Fiber, has way more fiber going throughout the city that they're actually leasing to ISPs, dark fiber. So, but they're going after ComEd, and I believe it was in relation to the middle mile grant, right? So ComEd put in for the middle mile to help build out the fiber or to build out the grid. So they want for the grid expansion program that they have. And so then the federal government says, hey, we're going to give you money for your grid expansion, then we would like to see you do more in these communities, like help out with the digital divide. So then ComEd says, yes, we're more than welcome to do that, but we can only do middle mile. So the ISP would have to do the last mile because we're not allowed to do it by law. So there's a law that they can't do any last mile. So and so
Well, this is where we have to get the households themselves, to
yeah.
connect. And because, cooperatives or, things like NYC Mesh, it's not municipal. It's not, part of the city government. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that there's any way they could make it illegal. Now, there's no way that they can make it illegal, but Mayor Adams in New York City uh, went in NYCHA housing, that's like the public
Yeah.
housing in New York. NYC Mesh was in a bunch of buildings, like well, a couple of them,
Yeah.
and Mayor Adams is booting them out and bringing in Spectrum, Time Warner,
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's the ironic thing is no one wants to have any kind of open access or any competition, even in the areas that they're not serving individuals.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
the sad, because to the point is that the only communities I work in are economically disadvantaged communities, and those communities are up to 30 to 40% not connected in a home. So if you're not serving those individuals, why would you not want me to serve those individuals? I don't do cable service, so your cable
Yeah, I
service will
think
still be
it's easier for them to just block it everywhere than to
right.
figure out, where does it actually affect them. Yeah, I have to change that digital equity on the side, or just include hashtag open access. And I think, that's got to be, a rallying call. And that's something that, even majority communities, benefit from that. Everybody, it floats
Everybody benefits.
boats.
Yeah, even the carriers, or the carriers, they benefit as well, because competition is good for everyone, because it now you have to provide better service. You have to ensure that your networks are up and running. So it gives you a grounds to say, okay, we have to build infrastructure within these communities to provide this better service, which justifies their cost. So but now, if you look at it, they aren't held accountable for the service that they provide. It's not like the utility. So, for example,
Yeah, and they lie about the connectivity. That's something, in the NDIA monthly meeting yesterday. They had a bunch of people on talking about, evidence. Like they'd created these tools to see whether there's really a connection or not in different, neighborhoods. And I thought to
yeah,
myself, all of this effort is like going into showing this, and that's nice. But I wrote in the chat, can we all just agree that the incumbent ISPs always lie about this stuff?
right. Well, a year ago, maybe it's a year and a half ago, I sat on a panel with the University of Chicago, because we're working on this Internet Equity Initiative. They received a grant, and so then we put Raspberry Pis in various communities inside of people's home and measured their internet over X amount of time to see if internet was equitably distributed throughout those communities. And of course, it wasn't. That's what the whole panel was to reveal: is, hey, here's the deal. And it's on their site. You can go out there to the University of Chicago Data Science Internet Equity Initiative, and it'll show the results of what we found. But and that's the case, right? Because they're not held accountable for that. Like an electric utility, your electric cannot be less than what my electric is, otherwise they're in trouble. I mean, if you're getting brownouts all the time and mine is just booming, that's an issue. Also, it's not healthy for the grid. So in this environment for telecom, it's whatever it is. If I tell you I'm giving you a gig, I'm going to charge you for a gig, whether you're getting 100, 200, whatever, because I tell you it's up to. I don't tell you you're going to get a gig. It's up to.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll get it, and sometimes it'll just be up to that. Now, I've never seen it come through, but that's how they get around it, with that service. But but that proves that if I'm ordering a gig and I'm paying $100 for it, and you're ordering a gig and paying $100 for it, but I'm only getting on a normal basis, 500 MIPS, I'm paying twice as much for that same internet service as you are.
Yeah, one of the things they showed yesterday was how in minority communities that they pay more for the same service, or they pay more for terrible service, that people in majority communities are paying less to get better service.
Yeah, that's what it equates to. And those are the things that I look at, with my solution, is trying to resolve for those. And that's what that amendment was looking to not allow to happen. And it was the strangest thing. I've never been to Springfield before. It's my first time, and it was a eye-opening experience to see how it actually works down there, and how the lobbyists work, and the lawyers.
So were the incumbents there?
Yes. Yeah, they were there. So the amendment was put forth by someone, and it was attached to another bill. So the bill was there, and I believe that bill had been agreed on by both parties, what they wanted to do. So it was just a matter of sending the bill there, and then that's okay. Well, let's take it in for a vote. But they attached this amendment onto it, and so that's what I kept sending out the list saying, "Hey, oppose this, oppose this, oppose this," but you're opposing the amendment. But because it's attached to the bill, the bill couldn't go through. So then the sponsor of the bill says, "Hey, take that thing off my bill so I can get my bill through." So yeah, they had to pull it off. They pulled it off at the 9 o'clock, and then the bill proceeded. And then later in the day at about 6 o'clock, they attached it onto another one. And that's what the big scramble was. Hey, wait a minute, they're doing it again. This is ridiculous. I mean, so now they had no proponents for it at 9 o'clock. They had 48 oppositions. And so they pulled it out of there and the bill went through. So I would have thought that, okay, no one wants it and there's no one for it, then that thing should be dead. No, they set it to the side and tried it again later in the day. So we had to rally again. And this time we had over 50 individuals, against it or opposition. And they had 2 proponents. So they were, so now, again, another bill was sitting here and the guy was like, "Hey man, take that off my bill." So he had to take it off again. So it can go through.
So
But
who are do you know, like, I don't need to hear their names now, but do you know who the names of the politicians are that, were supporting the incumbents on this?
So when you look at it, there are no proponent that are politicians that are supporting it. You just need one to put it on. And the one gentleman's name, I believe, is Hoffman, was the gentleman who kept putting it on these different bills. So the bill itself is entirely different than the amendment.
Yeah, and then the other people are just oblivious to. I mean, I remember when I was on city council in Ann Arbor, in the last minute, like hundreds of pages of things that we were supposed to vote on would come through, and there was never enough time to read